I work with video games, and I wanted to see what kind of effect video games have on us. So the Entertainment Software Association reported that 65% of Americans played video games or computer games in 2007. NPD reported that there was an increase of $6.9 billion since 1996 to 2007 in the video game industry, totaling at $9.5 billion. As we can clearly see that the interest and sales of video games have gone up, and this calls for further investigation of video games and their effects. Before we look at some of the studies that have been done within the field, it's important to look at where video games have started and where we are today. So video games started with simple concepts. Games such as Pong and Pac-Man really illustrate that. As you can see, Pong was introduced in 1972 and used very simple features, basically dash line and a dot. And Pac-Man, which came out at the end of that decade, was a little bit more advanced in that it had colors and simple characters that we still recognize today. And the standard was really set higher when Super Mario Brothers came out in 1985. The graphics improved, characters were able to do much more things. Mario was able to jump, move forward, throw things, and there was a better storyline. You know, the story was this plumber trying to save this princess from this horrible monster. And so that leads us to today. As you can see, the graphics have drastically changed. Games such as Gears of War and Halo really emphasize on the three-dimensional world, and even the facial features, as you can see on Gears of War, have really improved from the decade of Mario, you know, where you can barely see his face. And the stories are very rich, and the tasks are very demanding. So that brings us to the consoles. Within the gaming industry, Nintendo has really established itself as being known for being innovative and being able to take risks. With the launch of Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo really, the company itself, established itself in the video game industry. And so recently, oh, whoops, sorry. Anyways, I'll tell you what that's about. Recently, Nintendo came out with its brand new console, the Wii, and by the time it came out, I think it was the last one to come out, and within that year, Xbox 360 was released through Microsoft, and Sony released the PlayStation 3. Nintendo clearly outsold its competitors by selling 40.48 million consoles worldwide compared to Microsoft, which sold 24 million, which was its close competitor, I guess. So why did the Wii outsell consoles that were so much more technologically advanced, that offered so many more features than the Wii does? Well, one of the reasons is Wii offers a unique wireless motion detecting controller. This allows gamers to experience gaming in a very interactive way that the other consoles don't. And not only that, the Wii is targeting everyone. It's targeting the youth, the kids, and the elderly. So it's very important to study this console that so many people are looking into and playing. So let's look at some of the studies that have been done in the field. When we look at video games, violence is always a close attachment to it. We always talk about it. And there have been studies that have concluded that there is a correlation between violence and video games. Anderson and Dill found that playing violent video games is positively correlated to increase in aggression and delinquency. However, studies have found no causal relationship between violence and video games. Williams and Skorig conducted an online violent video game study that found that there was no causal relationship, and real world aggression was not caused by video games. And so there are some other skills to be gained through video games. Green and Bevelier in 2006 found that gamers demonstrated enhanced attentional resources and increased visual spatial attention throughout the visual field. There have been other studies done with surgeons, I know that's another popular one, that say that playing video games actually helps surgeons be more precise and steady. So I hypothesize that playing Wii Sports will help improve athletic skills, especially for beginners. My mentor proposed an alternative hypothesis that playing Wii Sports will actually have a negative transfer of skills and result in poor performance. So 22 students participated in my study, and the study lasted for 4 days. The first day, a pre-test was administered, and I recorded scores for sports such as darts, tennis, and golf, and these were real-life sports, so we actually went outside and had a tennis ball machine and, really got the score. And on the first day, the first practice session was also conducted. This included 3 consoles, the Wii, the Xbox, and the computer. And on each console, participants played for 10 minutes each. The Xbox was a control, so they played a non-related game like Halo. And on the Wii and the computer, we played the 3 sports that I selected, and the study was counterbalanced. And on the last day, the post-test was also administered after the final practice session. So the results suggest that for the pairwise comparison of Wii and computer, it was significant at 0.015. And as you can see that playing with the Wii has a negative transfer on the scores for the sports compared to the computer or even the control. So there might be a few reasons as to why that happened. First of all, the technology with the Wii is not as precise as it could be. So it's not meant to be played as a practice and as a substitute for going outside and actually practicing your sport. So until that improves, we might not be able to conclude anything. But for further investigation in this area, having more participants might actually be helpful, and having an equal number of participants in each condition. And the post-test was done right after the final practice session, and so this might be a short-term effect, so we don't know. That would have to be done in a further study. And for future consideration, the study could be extended to a 2 or 3 week study, and more time needs to be added to the practice session. So, yeah, those were the results, and so I don't know. Playing the Wii, it's fun, but it might actually hinder your athletic skills. So I would think twice about that. I don't know. So, you guys have any questions?
Did you look into Wii Fit and the idea of improving balance and stuff like that instead of maybe athleticism?
That came out like while we were putting together the study, so I didn't really think of that at the moment. Yes.
What made you interested in this, studying this topic?
Well, I always watch my brother play video games for hours, and first of all, I was interested in what keeps him going for that long. And, I really like sports, so this was a great study to put together because it combined 2 of my interests. Yes?
Was the negative correlation that you showed with the Wii, was that equivalent for the 3 different sports activities?
Well, the scores were converted to z-scores so they could be compared, and that's how we came up with it.
Okay, maybe I'm not clear if I understand, but on the Wii you can actually play a dart throwing game.
Yes.
So you compared their dart throwing scores playing the Wii with their actual dart throwing scores.
No. They practiced on the console for, like, the only practice they got was on the console playing darts, but the measurement was on just comparing, the pre-test compared real life dart to real life dart on the post-test.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
But I guess the follow-up question is, do they do equally, lose their skills go down equally for all three activities, or were some more affected by the
I'm not sure.
Sample size.
Sample size, yeah. Okay, we only had 22 participants, so it's really hard to say. And like I said, the conditions didn't have the same number of participants depending on the week. I had more participants some week than the others, so it didn't balance equally like I wanted to. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, did you ask your participants if they've ever played the Wii or if they've ever done
Yeah.
tennis, or what was the results on that?
I don't have those with me, but
But have some people played
yeah,
it
some
before,
people
or
it ranged
competing
from
or-
some people hardly ever playing the Wii. I mean, I think most people were at least familiar with
Yeah.
Wii or at least played it once.
Mhm.
So they knew, but there were quite a few people I had to show, like, okay, this is what you do.
Yeah, I was never do that.
Yeah.
Cool,
So,
great study.
oh, thanks. Yes?
Yeah, I was wondering on the reference to, I think it was Williams and Scorik, on
Uh-huh.
the violence
Yeah.
relationship between video games and the real world. Who are they? Where did they do this? And are they
Yes.
psychiatrists, sociologists, psychologists?
I think they're psychologists. They just did a longitudinal study of online gaming. So they asked people if they play multiplayer violent video games or whatever. And if they said yes, then they chose those people, and then they had their control group, people who didn't, or, there was an elaborate study on that.
Is that the definitive study to date?
No, I think there are ones that are coming out, but in terms of violent video games, there's a lot of different studies out, and all the results are very all over the place. I mean, some conclude that yes, there is correlation, and others conclude there isn't. So it's an ongoing debate in the field. Yes.
I've heard that in the military, fighter pilots use games to enhance their skills. Did you run across anything about that?
I did, we were looking at some of the older games, I think, and I did find that they actually improved that game to be fit for training. So I can't recall which one it is, but I mentioned it somewhere.